Greetings, math fans. All right, so what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about graphing linear equations. So graphing linear equations. Okay, the key is actually a pretty important word here. Linear means line, and we're talking about a straight line. Okay, we're going to talk about other kinds of lines later on, but right now we're going to be talking about straight lines. Before we get started, I want you guys to understand if I would graph a line here, and let's just have a couple points here. So let's have a point right here, and let's have a point right here. Okay, let's have those 2 points. Let's say this is my line. Each of these points is called a solution. Okay, a solution is a coordinate on the line. It's pretty easy. Okay, it's a coordinate on the line. And so if I give you an equation, this is the question that I'm going to ask. So you're given an equation, and my question is going to be, is the point, or is the coordinate, we call it point or coordinate, so I'll say point. Is the point a solution to the equation? Okay, so here's an example. If I give you an equation of 2x plus 3y is equal to negative 1. Okay, and then my question is going to be, I'm going to give you a coordinate. I'm going to give you 1 comma negative 1. I'm going to say, is this a solution? Okay, it's really easy, math fans. The only thing you do is, remember we talked about this, so this is your x value and this is your y value. You plug into equation. And you're trying to see if the left side equals the right side. Okay, very important. If the left side equals the right side, then it is a solution. If not, then it's not a solution. Okay? Very easy. So if I take this one right now and I say 2 times 1 plus 3 times negative 1 equals negative 1. So 2 minus 3 equals negative 1. Does 2 minus 3 equal negative 1? Sure does. So the answer to this problem was yes. Okay? It's really easy. Just plug it in. It's all you do. All right, so let's try another one here. Negative x plus 2y equals, let's just say 8. So I'm going to say, I'm going to give you a coordinate of 2 comma negative 5. Okay, and just got to be really careful. So you're going to take that 2 and you're going to plug it into x, so it's negative 2 plus 2 times negative 5. Negative 2, it's minus 10, and that, of course, is negative 12. So it's not equal to it, so the answer is no. It's not a solution. Not a solution. Okay? So that's pretty easy. That's the first type of problem we're going to do. You just plug it in to see if the left side equals the right side. All right? So what about this one? Y equals 7. What if I give you a coordinate of 82 comma 7? Well, remember that's your x and that's your y. So let's plug in. X is 82. Well, there's nothing to plug in for x, so we're not going to plug it in. We're just going to plug a 7 in for y. 7 equals 7, so the answer to this one is yes. Okay, that was pretty easy. All right, this next part is actually graphing equations. Okay, and we're going to do some really basic ones, and then I'm going to show you some a little more complicated ones. But I know some of you guys, you know some other methods. You know slope-intercept, or you know finding x and y intercepts in graphing. But right now what we're going to do is we are going to, for the most part, we're going to solve for y. Sometimes we won't, but most of the time we're going to solve for y, then plot points. Okay, that's what I'm looking for, guys. We're going to plot points, and you're going to come up with, you're going to just be able to graph that equation. All right, but you got to be able to plot points. And some of you again are saying, well, geez, can I do it another way? And I'm like, no, you can't, because sometimes an equation later on in life, whether it's in Algebra 2 or pre-calculus or calculus, sometimes the equation gets really, really complicated. And the only way really to graph it is by plotting points. All right? So let's start out with a nice little friendly problem here. Y equals 2x plus 1. So this is the deal, guys. I'm going to put this in red. I want 3 points. Okay? So when I ask you to plot the points, I want 3 points. And you're like, well, why do you want 3 points? Well, you definitely need 2 because you have to be able to plot 1 point and then go to the other point. But I want 3 because I think that sometimes if kids make mistakes, they can realize their mistake if they have 3 points in the graph instead of just 2. All right? So this is the deal. You're going to make a T-chart. They call it a T-chart because it looks like a big T. And you're going to pick values of x. Now, how do you pick values of x? Well, a lot of times 0, 1, and 2 are good numbers. Sometimes they're not. Okay, you got to kind of see what you're going to do here. But if I put a 0 in there, it's 2 times 0 plus 1. That's literally what I'm doing is I'm plugging in a 0 for x. Okay, so that x goes into there. And so I get 2 times 0 is 0 plus 1 is 1. So I'm going to make, I know it's a T-chart, but I'm going to kind of make an extra little guy here. This is my xy coordinate. So this is my x and this is my y. So it's 0, 1. The next one is going to be 2 times 1 plus 1, which is 2 plus 1 is 3. So it's 1, 3. That's what I'm looking for. And then 2 times 2 plus 1 is 5. So 2, 5. Now I'm going to graph it. Okay, and we have 0. Let's just make a so it's 0, 1. We'll do this in red. 0, 1 is right here. 1, 3 is right here. And 2, 5 is right here. I missed the point a little bit, but that's good. Okay, and that's my graph. Now, these are a couple things I don't want you to do. This is what people sometimes do, is they plot the 3 points, and they just draw a line between those 3 points and do that. Okay, I really don't want to see that. I want you guys to extend that, and I want to see a nice big line. All right, so that's pretty important. But what happens is, again, if you're doing 3 points, now let's just say randomly you picked, you did this point, and so this point was like here. Well, you would see that you can't really do that, right? It's not in a straight line, and you have to go back and check to see where you made your error. All right, but that's kind of that's really the point of having 3 points. Okay, let's try another one here. Y equals 1/2 x minus 3. Now, this is the deal. You could pick 0, 1, and 2, but you don't want to, and the reason is because if I picked a 1 here, I'd get 1/2 times 1 is 1/2 minus 3. Okay, that's going to give you a nasty fraction, and you don't want to deal with that. So this is the deal. You look at this number here, and you want a multiple of 2. Okay, can you guys remember that? You want a multiple of 2. Because what happens is if I pick multiples of 2, 1/2 times an even number is going to give me a whole number, and that's my goal. Multiples of 2 will give me whole numbers. So let's pick some numbers here. X and Y. 0, 2, and 4. So if I put a 0 in there, I get 1/2 times 0 minus 3. Okay, and that gives me negative 3. 2 or 1/2 times 2 minus 3. Half of 2 is 1. 1 minus 3 is negative 2. You can always put this in your calculator, math fans. Always put that in your calculator. I put a 4 in there. 1/2 times 4 minus 3. So half of 4 is 2. 2 minus 3 is negative 1. So those are your coordinates. It's there. Actually, the coordinates are here. It's going to be 0, negative 3, 2, negative 2, and 4, negative 1. Okay, let's graph that. 0, negative 3, 2, negative 2, and 4, negative 1. Okay, and you can see these lines, or these points are in kind of a nice straight line here. Kind of a straight line. Okay, you're going to have graph paper to make it a little more accurate, because right now it's not super accurate, and your line can be off by a little bit. Okay, but that's kind of it, math fans. Let's try a couple more here. Y equals 2, negative 2/3 x plus 1. Okay, so what are you going to do? You're going to choose multiples of 3. So I'm going to choose 0, 3, and 6. Okay, again, I don't care if you use your calculator. If you do negative 2/3 times 0 is the best number in the world, guys, because anything times 0 is 0. And so x, let's do xy coordinate here. Okay, so that's going to be equal to 1. So it's 0, 1. This is negative 2/3 times 3 plus 1. Well, that's, you cross cancel. It's a 1 and a 1. So it's negative 2 plus 1 is negative 1. So 3, negative 1. And then negative 2/3 times 6 plus 1 is, that's a 2 and a 1. So it's negative 4 plus 1 is negative 3. So it's 6, negative 3. All right, and again, these should come out to be a relatively straight line. Not necessarily on our graphs here because they're not really perfect grids. But 6, negative 3, 3, negative 1, and 0, 1. Okay, and so you can see it's a nice straight line here. Straight as I can make it. Okay? That's pretty easy, right? But you got to use multiples of that 3. All right, so let's talk about what happens if it's not solved. What about 2x plus 3y equals 6? Okay, you have to know how to solve for y, math fans. That is such an important concept, is to be able to solve for y. All right, so to solve for y, it's just like back in the day. You isolate the y, and we're going to subtract 2x first. So 3y equals negative 2x plus 6. And then divide each of those by 3, just like we did in the formula chapter. Each one gets divided by 3. Don't draw a big line over the 3 because you're going to make a mistake. Each one gets divided by 3. So you get y equals negative 2/3 x plus 2. Okay, what are you going to do? You're going to pick multiples of 3. So 0, 3, and 6. If I put a 0 in there, I get a 2. That's easy, because 0 is always easy. If I put a 3 in there, again, use your calculator. We're going to kind of go through a little faster, but if you use your calculator, you get negative 2/3 times 3, which is negative 2. Negative 2 plus 2 is 0. I put a 6 in there. 3 and the 6 cancel, and you get a 2 on top. So you get negative 4 plus 2 is negative 2. Okay, so 0, 2, 3, 0, and 4, 5, 6, negative 2. And there's your graph. Okay, it's not bad. All right, just again, this is more practice. 5x minus 3y equals 12. Okay? So let's just practice solving for y, because that's actually kind of a tough thing sometimes for people. Well, you want to isolate the y, so we're going to subtract 5x first. So negative 3y equals negative 5x plus 12. Divide everything by negative 3. So y equals a negative over negative is a positive. So 5/3 x minus 4. Okay, and we can do this one here. What values are you going to pick? X and y. Again, I'm going to pick multiples of 3, so 0, 3, and 6. 0 gives me negative 4. If I put a 3 in there, that gives me 5. 5 minus 4 is 1. If I put a 6 in there, this 6 and 3 cancel, and I get 10. 10 minus 4 is 6. So that's my graph. 0, negative 4, 3, comma 1. Oops, 3, comma 1 is right here, not this one. 3, comma 1, and 4, 5, 6. There, comma 6. Okay? And there is your graph. Okay, you can even tell if I did do that problem right there, that point, it'd be off, right? And it's got to form a nice straight line. Very important. Okay, let's try one more. 2x plus 5y equals negative 15. Okay, subtract 2x from both sides. So 5y equals negative 2x minus 15. Divide everything by 5. So y equals negative 2/5 x minus 3. Okay, so we're going to use multiples of 5. Now, this gets a little hairy because, well, let's start out. First of all, I'll put 0, 5, and 10. So if I put a 0 in there, that gives me negative 3. Those are easy again. If I put a 5 in there, the 5's cancel, and I have negative 2 minus 3 is negative 5. I put the 10 in there, the 5 and the 10 cancel, I get a 2, so I get negative 4 on top, and negative 4 minus 3 is negative 7. All right? So bigger numbers, but, we kind of have to deal with it. It's not too bad. So let's graph this thing. Okay, so 0, comma negative 3. 5, comma negative 5. And 10, negative 7. So 10, negative 7. Okay, that's the graph for that. So that is plotting points and solving. Then we have two more problems that we're going to talk about here, math fans. And these are called, I call these BAM problems. Okay, the reason I call them BAM problems is because they are super fast, like BAM! Okay, sorry, I mean to blow your speakers away there. But they're BAM problems because they're really, 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 really fast problems. If I give you x equals 2, I'm going to ask you to graph that. Right? And most of the time, aren't you solving for y? You're like, wait a second, I can't solve for y. I don't have a y out there. Well, I want to point something out first, and then I'll give you guys a shortcut because BAM means, hey, we're going to go through it really fast. Do you guys agree if I make a t-chart, x is always 2. So if y is 0, x is 2. If y is 1, x is 2. If y is negative 3, x is 2. Do you guys agree that this t-chart is very acceptable for x equals 2 because x always equals 2? Y can equal anything. All right. So let's plot this. 2 comma 0, 2 comma 1, and 2 comma negative 3. Okay, so that is a BAM problem because that's actually a vertical line. Okay, so x equals 2 is a vertical line. I'll tell you how to remember that in a little bit, but x equals is a vertical line. So that's bam. You don't. So this is the deal, math fans. I'm not even looking for this. If you give me x equals 2, I know it's a vertical line going through 2. Okay, this is important right here. It's got to go through this point, and then it's just up and down with your arrows. All right, let's try another one here. Y equals negative 3. Well, again, if I do a t-chart, y is always negative 3, no matter what. So if it was 2, 0, negative 4, y is always going to be negative 3. So let's plot this. 2, negative 3. X is 0, y is negative 3. X is negative 4, y is negative 3. Okay, and that's your graph. Very interesting. So this one is a horizontal line, and sometimes people get that confused. They see this one as x equals, and they see the other one as y, because they say, well, isn't that the axis? But I want you guys to understand that every point on this graph, y equals 3, right? Here and here and here. So if you have a y equals problem, it's automatically a horizontal line. Now, how do you remember that? Here's a little trick for you. I'm going to write the y that way. Y equals negative 3. Take your computer, turn it upside down. But if I turn that h or that y upside down, I get an h. Okay, so upside down. If I turn it upside down, and it stands for horizontal line. Okay, upside down y is a horizontal line. And then what I did before, the x equals, like x equals 2, that is a vertical line, because an x, it's goofy, but an x is made up of, here's one v, and here's the other v. X is made up of two v's, so an x equals 2 is a vertical line. All right, so x equals 2, I would go to x equals 2 right here. Okay, don't just plot that point. It's a line. It's a vertical line. All right, sometimes people just plot a point, and it's not a point. It's a whole equation. It's a line. So let's do a couple. And these are, again, all BAM problems because I don't even expect a t-chart. So if I said x equals negative 7, I know right away that's a vertical line. Okay, x equals negative 7. So I go negative 7 to x. And again, don't draw a vertical line or a horizontal line, math fans. Don't draw it. You got to draw a bunch of vertical lines. So here's the point that I plotted, by the way. And it's a vertical line at x equals negative 7. Okay, here's another one. Y equals 4. Okay, so I go y equals 4, 3, 4. Plot a point there. Okay, so it's a horizontal line. And it is going to be right like that. Okay, remember upside down y is an h, and an upside down, or an x is made up of two v's for vertical line. Okay, but again, these are BAM problems. I don't even need a t-chart. You just make the line, man. Y equals 4. It is a, like I said, it's a nice horizontal line. All right, please don't get that confused. This is a common mistake, and I'm going to show it to you. Okay, I get something like, y equals 2, and kids do this. They go 2 here, and then they draw it like this. Okay, that doesn't make sense, guys. This is an x equals. Okay, if I want to go through this point, it goes this way. This is y equals. Okay, so be careful about that. Y equals is not the same as the y-axis. It just goes through the point like this is y equals 2 because it's going through the point 2 on the y-axis. All right, so be really careful when you're drawing these things. They're not difficult, but just keep that in your brain about how to graph these. Upside down y is a horizontal line. Upside down x is is an X is made up of two V's. Okay, you got to remember that, and you should be good to go. All right, that's it, math fans. Have a great day. Goodbye.